Let me just test it out real quick, and then we can get started. A bee! It's in there. It's
The bumblebee?
yeah.
You know, bumblebees and wasps, they don't get along. If you have bumblebees around your house, they keep away wasps and hornets.
Wouldn't the wasp win though? The fight?
They get bitched by bumblebees. I've seen this because
What?
they get bodied. I mean, like, it's on site.
All right, but have you like searched this up
Yeah,
and
I'll pull it up
found
right now.
studies?
100%.
Cause
Is this recording?
bumblebees, yeah.
All right, we're going to prove it right here.
Cause don't bumblebees just one time and that's it? They're done?
Nah, bumblebees, they're solid. They're like Mike Tyson's.
Yeah, they're hefty.
You ever seen that
big in
video of
size.
Mike Tyson in a bumblebee suit?
No.
You never seen that? Shit.
Nah, we're gonna pull it up though so they can see it.
I'm feeling beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
How you spell hornets?
Hornets.
Yeah,
That was East Hartford mascot. Hornets.
that's stupid. No.
Wow. What was your mascot?
uh,
Glastonbury.
Glastonbury. East Hartford. We were down the street from Glastonbury. My first high school was a hawk, and then when I went to Buckley,
Hawk.
yeah.
Middle school, East Hartford was a hawk.
It's only like three things: either a bird, a dog, or like some outlandish animal.
So what was your high school one?
It was either the hawk, and then Buckley was a bulldog.
All right.
The Buckley Bulldogs. That just rolls off the tongue. All right, so yeah, should a wasp try to enter a hive or a nest, there can be indeed a fight between wasps and bees, and they will fight each other. Hello, what is going on?
Hello.
They will fight each other to the death. Oh,
To the death.
yeah. See, the bumblebees will actually scare off wasps. Right there. Google don't lie.
Wow, that's wild. Well, there you have it, folks. Don't mess with the bumblebee.
They throw hands with you.
Throw
But they're
hands
sweet.
with you. They throw hands, brother. Action.
Hello and welcome back to Horizonmindsyt. I'm X.
And I'm Felix.
Today we're back with another video.
Yes, sir.
As you can see, we're outside.
Yeah, we just outside. We're doing it different now.
It's nice out, the weather's gonna start warming up. Ironically, it was kind of cold earlier this week, but that's okay.
Yeah.
The sun's out now, and that's all that matters.
Yes, sir.
So
So what we got bringing up today for the Horizon Mind viewers?
just talking about the youth, and it's a very broad topic to just say youth, but Philip kind of talking about like
The knuckleheads.
the knuckleheads.
Yeah.
We were knuckleheads. I'm still a knucklehead, but looking back now at my teenage years or like before that kid years, I was crazy. Like I needed help. Like, but I know for a lot of kids, we act out like that. It's easier to act out and fight somebody rather than be like, hey, I need help. I'm not feeling okay. You know what I'm saying?
Especially for the male youth.
That's a teenager or a teenage boy, to say the least. Like, I feel like our main thing is like how people portray us. Like you don't want to be conceived as like some sort of weak and blah blah blah, and like, oh, he's a coward.
There's a helicopter going on above us right now. Probably hear it.
It's the government. That's what it is.
It's the government trying to shut down Horizon Minds because we liberating the mind.
You know what I'm saying?
You know,
I look right
liberating
into
the people. Yes.
my eyes. But yeah, I feel like for me, right, growing up, I always played sports, right? So a big thing in sports was like how tough you can be.
Yeah.
You get hit, get back up, and blah blah blah, which can be beneficial, but it can also be very toxic. You grow up in that type of household or around that environment, you might think that it makes you weak to admit that you're feeling down or some shit like that, which is not the case at all. I know pro fighters who can bawl their eyes out and still whoop 90% of the population. It doesn't mean anything. But when you're a teenager or when you're a young boy, or girls too, but I feel like for men, for us, it's a bit different. It's just, I don't know, it messes with your psyche as you get older, and it just prevents you from releasing those emotions.
It slows your growth down too.
Yeah, by a lot.
I, for example, like grew up very angry. I grew up in a home which was divided, and so I was living with my mom most of the time, so I didn't really get that experience from like my father too much. Like I didn't get to know like, okay, discipline and what's a man and what's my role. So like
Mm-hmm.
I try to figure that out here, and my mom would understand whatever, so I would act out, and it was very easy for me to just act out as well, cause yeah, my mom could whoop me, but ain't nothing like it.
It's not gonna change anything.
Ain't nothing like that father whooping,
Yeah.
that discipline. Um, but yeah, I grew up very angry, and it was very easy for me to portray and show my emotions that way, and it was much harder for me to have a conversation, or for me to really actually understand like what I was feeling. It was just like, all right, I'm gonna be mad. I'm trying to tell you that I'm sad, but I'm gonna be mad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna punch a wall, and then obviously like that makes us look bad, right? Like we're just
Out of
bad
control.
kids, out of control. But in reality, we're suffering inside, and yeah, that was my like upbringing, I guess. Um, and so looking back at that, looking at my youth days, I can definitely connect and understand a lot of the kids nowadays, right? You see a lot of kids that are very angry, very toxic. It's a lot going on, especially with the youth, and depending on where you're, obviously, growing up. You look at New York or Chicago, you see it's very toxic. It's
Sure.
very dangerous. 12, 13 years old. These kids are murderers. um, but all of this, anger and stuff and hatred that they got towards each other and whatever, like it's just kids suffering. At
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day, it's just kids going through something, and they're trying to find an outlet to express themselves and to feel connected to something. And I know I wanted to feel connected to something, and so I was leading down a similar path. I was, looking at the streets. I was looking at these older people that were in my life that were bad influences. So, the youth right now, we have to protect them. Not now, but like always, because they're gonna be the people that are gonna take over us. They're the
Especially now.
people that are the future. You
Yeah.
know?
Like I don't mean to cut you off, but like
Yeah.
especially now, I feel like how things are in the world. I think it's like you said, should have always been protecting the youth, but things are crazy now. Especially with like the blow up of social media and stuff like that. Which
Yeah.
social media has always been around, stuff like that. But with recent years, recent world events, it's just continuing to get crazier and crazier. But sorry.
No, go ahead, continue.
Uh,
Yeah,
but
you're
I'm
hitting it
saying like
on the nail.
it's just with social media. Like for me growing up, we didn't. I had for me, I can only speak for myself, but like YouTube was a big thing for me.
Hmm.
um, and some of the YouTubers, I was lucky enough to not really. I mean, there were some YouTubers I would look up to as like true role models and stuff like that. Because for me, I never really lived with my father. I lived with my mom. My mom is amazing, and my dad is, he's good as well. But for me, I never really had like a role model that I can kind of relate with. You know what I'm saying? So I'll look for that in like YouTubers,
Hmm.
or some people like some kids do now with like social media stars. Um, we're saying that there's not good ones out there, but there are a lot of questionable ones who I question their motives when it comes to the audience and what they want best for their viewers. When it comes to certain content creators, they feel as if, they're not responsible of their for their viewers.
Jack Dorsey.
Yeah. People like that where it's like, you know, yeah, you're not, I guess, like in control of them, but they look up to you. You have a responsibility as someone who, you put out this content, you do these actions, and you record it and you post it online, and then you expect people to not follow that when you give them the green light. And it just kind of creates more and more and more of these idiotic kids who are just not even bad kids, but just led down the wrong path.
Yeah.
Um, Most of them are able to like realize later on in life, like, damn, this is stupid. This is not what I want to do. But when they get to that point, it will take like something major. Like let's say they get beat up because they're trying to film a prank, and they messed with the wrong person. or they do these things where they think that they can just do things without consequences, and they pay the price for it. And it's unfortunate, you know.
When is the mind fully developed? Is it like 25 or 27?
I think like 25, 26.
25. So, that's a lot of years for a kid to, finally get to a point where they're like, all right, you know what? This isn't working out. This isn't, my best lifestyle or decision making. So I gotta straighten up. These kids are on YouTube and whatever at 12 years old, at 10 years old, 18, whatever. So all this time they're building this like negative mindset of like, oh yeah, this is okay. This is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can do whatever I want. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna bully or harass some people because I'm trying to get views and I'm trying to blow up, or whatever the case is, right? Like you said, role models, if you're someone who has a lot of like following, especially like younger kids, which is the majority of followers of most of the YouTubers online, they're all young. So like you definitely have a responsibility. You definitely have a responsibility to like your fan base, and the more you act up and you act wild, like yeah, there's gonna be consequences because these kids are gonna follow. They're gonna think like this is a new wave. This is how they get cool. This is how they get money. And then, like you said, you got a whole new,
New generation.
new cycle just coming in of a bunch of idiots.
And like again, like there's a difference too when it comes to things where like kids were gonna do stupid things all the time. I did a lot of stupid things. I still do stupid things. Um, Sorry, Mother Nature. She wants to chime in real quick. Go ahead. She's just
Michael Jackson, right?
like Michael Jackson. But like, yeah, like there's a difference when kids do stupid things, but then when it becomes like a habit or a pattern, where it becomes like, oh, like it's like how I picture is when you put your hand on like a hot oven or a hot stove, you burn yourself. You're like, oh, that shit hurt. That hurt. I'm not gonna do that again.
Do it again.
You put it right back on there right afterwards, and you keep doing it over and over. You keep getting burned and burned and burned, but at that point, it's no longer a mistake or an oopsie daisy. It's a habit now.
It's just ignorance.
And it's hard to break that. You know what I'm saying? Like once you get attached to that type of cycle, and then you throw in like, shame and guilt, like you feel remorse for your actions and stuff. That cycle, it's hard to break. You know what I'm saying? Like you're like, damn, why did I do that? I'm such an idiot. Anyway, you go right back to it because it's what's comfortable, you know? So when you apply that to like certain, actions like pranking or just being, and I don't want to say, a nuisance, keep it PG on here. It's hard because at that point too is like, your brain stops developing at 25, and if you haven't shapen up at that time, then that's just, I won't say that's who you are, but it makes it even harder to kind of move away from that mindset,
Yeah. So role models, right? We touched on that. So what do you think like would be the best thing for the youth? They have all this access to all these people, right? Tons of people. It don't matter if it's one guy or whatever, like you have access to so many people, so you're always like online, and you're comparing yourself and you're trying to do this and you're being influenced by that. Like what can we do about the youth, right, to kind of like help them? Because when they're with their parents, they're gonna say one thing. When they're not with their parents, there's a whole different story. So what would you think, like in your mind, would be like something that could help them?
Get them off social media. I feel
That's
like
very hard.
you're right. You can't just be like, oh, get the kids off social media, because either way, like I had, a Snapchat account at a young age, before it was what it is now. Um, so my nephew, my niece, she has a TikTok and all that stuff. So they're more. That's the thing that's tough, because it's like it's not something that you can just say like, oh, if we do this, then it'd be easier for kids when it comes to like social media or what they see. Because the big thing that plays into part of that is like adults. It's us. Is what we're putting out there. And at the end of the day, it's like it's not really I feel like once a kid becomes a teenager, it's no longer like the responsibility of their parent to monitor. I feel like it's kind of your responsibility as content creators to kind of be mindful of what you're putting out there. You know, not to limit yourself or whatever, but if you're going to put something outlandish, also understand that you're going to have some people who might idolize that behavior. And there's like a YouTuber, right, that who was really really toxic back then. I used to watch him a lot. iDubbbz, really, he did like a complete 180. As he got older, he realized like I don't want to be doing this stuff no more. Like this is he would kind of like bash people. He do like content cop, which some viewers may know or not. He would like kind of trash other people's content and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But as he got older, he realized that like that's not really a sustainable lifestyle to have or a mindset to have. It's gonna drive you crazy, always being hateful towards people. Um, but then he was so he built his entire brand off of that type of behavior. So when he wanted to change around and he made an apology saying like, I don't want to do this no more, his entire fan base turned on him because you built for years now like this type of behavior where like, oh, I'm gonna be toxic, gonna be this and that. I don't want to do it no more. It feels like to those fans that he just kind of abandoned them.
See,
But
it's like you have a group of friends, right?
mm,
And you're all, let's say, in the street or whatever. You live in this street life, and you decide to be like, you know what? I'm going to church. They're gonna clown you. They're gonna joke on you. They're gonna pick on you. They're gonna be like, you're different. Like, what happened to you? All because you're trying to better yourself.
yeah,
But that's the thing. Like, you can't let people, and that's why I feel like so many trends are so popular, not just popular, but like powerful,
yeah,
because you don't want to be left out. You don't want to feel like the outcast. You don't want to feel different. You want to be a part of something. Like, I feel like, we kind of have to get away from that and just embrace and accept who we are as individuals. Everybody's always trying to find a group to fit in, like, oh, I'm an emo, so I'm gonna hang with the emos, or I'm a jock, so I hang out with the jocks only, or whatever. Like, there's all these things that we see in like movies that really play a true life, and I don't know what it is, that mindset where it comes from, but I would just say like just accept who you are and be you. It's okay to be you. Like you don't have to be like everybody else, and you mentioned earlier how when they're like teenagers, it's not so much the parents' responsibility. I want to disagree with that because if you're a good parent, right, and I'm not just saying like, oh, you treat your kid nice or whatever. Like, no, a good parent to me would be someone who's like teaching their kids right
yeah.
from wrong, and not just, oh, don't steal or whatever, or read your books. Like, pay attention and be mindful of the people who you hang around with. That way, like when they're growing up, they can be mindful as well. Just like that content creator, right? He was like, you know what? He started reflecting on his actions and his past behavior and the history and whatever. And he's like, you know what? This isn't gonna lead me anywhere. This is not how I want to be. This is not who I want to be. This is not who I am. We gotta find our true selves and become that, and work towards that. And who is that? I don't know. It's gonna take a journey to find out who we really are, but would you rather spend 10, 15, 20 years pretending, or do you want to really like feel alive and be you, and I would just say that, like, just be mindful and really sit down and reminisce and think on the long run of who you want to be, of where you want to be in life. It's
No,
very simple, but at the end of the day, it's not, because we're so our mind is so congested with so much BS and whatever.
it's like I agree. Like I wasn't saying like it's not like the parents
Yeah.
like should not have no response. But when it comes to like social media, a parent can only do so much.
Hmm.
Especially when like teenagers, like 15, 16. I feel like those are like our most impressionable ages when we're like so
Yeah.
it's like a parent, like my mom, like I said, my mom is an amazing mother. My dad, when he's a great father. And my sisters are all amazing as well. Give me great advice, but I still do stupid things.
Yeah.
because the things that I will see, not saying like everything I will see on social media, I'll be like, that's okay, I'm gonna go do that. I'm like,
Do that.
I was dumb, but I wasn't stupid, you know, it's
Yeah.
a difference. But there were things where like I would say certain things that would like, you know, your vocabulary would change when you're at those like age. I remember back in the day, I would be like, oh, swag and shit like that. Who says swag now? You say swag in 2024, you're weird. But nowadays you have Riz, you know, have things like that can kind of, you know,
Swag.
you probably say swag a lot. I feel like you're the type who had to change his head YOLO on it.
Hey.
Oh my
Enjoy.
God, that's the only dance you know.
Hey, that's
But
all I know, man. That's
it's
smart.
good.
That's me.
Yes, I can't dance anyway. Oh, God. But Bumblebee. Oh wait, no.
Careful.
Yeah, did you know that bumblebees, they fight off wasp?
Come here.
You call it back like it's a dog.
Come here. Get over here. Nah.
But
But okay, so as you were saying.
oh yeah, sure. I got distracted looking at the bee over there. Yeah, like I said, a parent can only do so much. You know, especially when you're a teenager, you're gonna get impression. You're gonna have impressions on whatever is the trend, and trends can be so like, can be a great thing. Can really help you, you know, boost your business or your content creating and all that. But it's dangerous when you get hooked onto a trend and you make that your entire thing. Um, because trends come and go all the time, and you don't really want to attach your business to something that is not stable. You know what I'm saying? Um, but that's why like trends like I know 2015, 2016, like pranks were a big thing, and there was a lot of big pranks YouTubers, and the majority of them are no longer even on YouTube because that fad passed. You know, but there's other YouTubers who started before them, but they still are, you know, they're still popular now because they're true to who they are.
They have something. They build something that's like sustainable and
Yeah, it has some substance, you know.
Yeah.
That's not just like, oh, we got to do what's popular now, this and that, which can be good if you want to get people to see you for a little bit.
it's like John Gabbana. You remember him? John Gabbana.
Oh,
Boonk
yeah.
gang. I don't want to call him Boonk gang because
But
obviously
it's
like
true though. That's how I would have known him as
Yeah.
Boom. But yeah, exactly. He was a perfect example. Someone
did
who
a
changed their life around.
changed it all around. You know, you seen him doing the most craziest things and on drugs and liquor and whatever. Like you see the effects of like bad behavior and bad choices on the people, especially those people that you see online, and still you choose to follow them.
Yeah.
You choose to be like, oh yeah, I want to do that. That's funny, you know. But like even when you see like it's affecting them, you know, internally, and the person is depressed or they're, you know, they have poor health, like I just don't get it, you know.
Yeah, like it's true. Especially when it comes to like situations like that,
Yeah.
where like, you know, they do it for like because they think their fans love them. In reality, like your fans don't care. They just like to see you hurt. They like to see you down and struggling. Because a lot of people, when you see somebody struggling, it's entertaining. It's crazy to me to see somebody down on their luck and be like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just click and like and subscribe just because I want to see that. I want to see this person fail in life. But it's tough to really see that when you get addicted to the drug of clout. You know, it's like you get a high off of it. And I mean, like, for example, our most viewed video had like 80 views. But to me, I was like, yo, we're next. We're next up. You know, this is it. But that's just 80 views. So imagine when you get like 1,000,000 views, 100,000 views. Like, you know, when you put that number of that many people taking the time to watch what you do, like it gives you a sort of rush. You're like, oh my God, I got to get that rush again. You know, got to get that. I got to get those numbers, and you become addicted to it. And if you're doing something that you love and you're recording that and creating that, then it's okay. But if you're doing something that's just a trend, well, then that's the issue. It's gonna basically drain you, you know. And then now you're left with just fans who don't have the best interest in you, and it's tough. But you know, to kind of go back a little bit, talking about role models, um, I think it's tough. Not like for me growing up, a lot of role models that I had were security guards in school because I was always fighting and being sent to the office. But I learned a lot from those like those security guards because I could relate to them. You know, a lot of things I was going through, they went through. You know, so it's like that's why I think it can be a good thing.
What are some things that they said to you?
So
like
like
that stick out.
for me, like it's very basic. Where it's like you can't just fight everybody you see. You can't fight everyone who says something stupid, even if it's like, oh, you're a B word. You can't just punch them in the face. Like it's just not okay. But me being 10, 11, 12, I was like, who cares? Like you're not gonna disrespect me. I'm not gonna let you, bitch me basically. But that's not a healthy way of living. And a lot of like there was one security guard growing up. Shout out Victor Rodriguez, Mr. Rodriguez, the one and only.
Yes, sir.
um, he helped me a lot. He was like somebody who I would be like uh, like my father figure in school. He was really close to my mom
Mm.
and my grandmother and everybody. So like he was an extension of them. He was cool with my dad, and so whatever I would do in school, he would call me out on it right off the bat, and that's what I needed because back then nobody else was doing it. I would do things and like kind of not be called out on it. Like
Yeah.
if I were if my past self, my younger self was my child now, bro, that is
Grab it. Get
those
over
little
here, yo.
elbows.
What
It's
you
not.
doing? You know what you're doing? No, that's a great point because we let the youth be so like unsupervised, especially when it comes to being on the internet. And so the kid is learning all these negative things, and like you said, you can't fight every battle. But as a youth, you don't want to listen to nobody. You
Yeah, you think
you
you
just
know
want to
everything.
keep going. You think you know everything. I thought I knew everything.
Yeah, me too.
And even like the older folks, like when we were growing up, I'm sure you've heard this plenty of times. They'll say the same thing. Oh, I was just like you, but it's
Yeah,
all right. You're gonna learn.
yeah,
You're gonna learn. So like, if you're a youth out there and you're struggling, please call 1-800.
yeah. 1-800
Nah,
Horizon Minds.
head ass, Horizon Minds. Yes, reach out and like really like look up to someone who's telling you something because not just because they want to tell you whatever, but because they actually care. Because
Mhm.
they've been through that, because they know better. A lot of times, like I said, we listen to someone and we're like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're older now. Times were different when you were growing up. You don't understand, but they do understand. The
Mhm.
elderly do understand, and you want to kind of get away from that, hard-headedness and really sit down and even if it doesn't click there, like reminisce on what someone has told you and apply that to your life and see if they were true or not. And if they're true, you better watch your steps because, it could take just one mistake of you doing something dumb and that's it. You're in jail or you're in the ground. So, yeah, we got
It's
to protect our youth, man.
absolutely like just to kind of like piggyback a little bit off of what you said. It's definitely true when it comes to like there was a lot of things where I wish that I would listen to the advice that was given to me beforehand. But I'll brush it off and I'll just go through a situation and I'm like, damn, if I just listened. I'm sure everyone has gone through situations like that. And honestly, we will continue going through situations like that at
Oh,
times.
man.
We think we know better, and but sometimes that's the only way for you to learn. Is for you to burn your hand. Um, it's just up to you to not do it again, or repeatedly. If you burn your hand twice, it is what it is. You might have forgotten the first time, and that's okay. But if you burn your hand the 15th time in a row, um, that's no longer an accident. you know, that's medical fraud, is what you're committing right there.
Oh, man. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember a couple people that told me something, and I decided to just go through with it either way, and messed me up, man. I ended up with a scar, all that.
Now, you told me a couple people that I should have avoided.
My dad always said, the worst thing that someone could tell you is "I told you so."
Oh God, yeah.
That's the thing he told me all the time. He was like, because at one point he's just like, you know what, whatever. You 18, whatever. It's okay. You're
You'll
gonna
learn.
learn the hard way. He told me the worst thing someone could tell you is "I told you so." Now imagine yourself, right? Place yourself behind bars and someone telling you that, or place yourself, in a wheelchair and someone told you that, or place yourself, I don't know, in a hospital bed
Fighting for your life.
and someone told you that. Like, do you really want to get to that point, or do you want to, heed the advice that's being told to you? especially, like one thing that can help you with that, because we don't know all the answers. We of course have to go through like negative things, or not really just negative things, but we have to go through these motions in order to learn, trials and tribulations. One thing that I can, leave this video off with is like, look for, positive role models. If, you feel like you've been going down the wrong path, all right, think about where you want to be at, and search up someone who has succeeded in that. For someone who has succeeded in business, search up that person and follow their steps. There's a blueprint out there in life,
For everything.
and it's not that, you just look at it and you find it. Like, you have to really like kind of look at the steps that people have taken, and not try to replicate it, but, try to use that and as a way to like guide you in life, because we all need guidance,
Absolutely.
especially the youth. Even at an older age, some people are still lost and they're trying to recover from their mistakes, and it's harder when you're older. So you want to definitely take advantage when you're still young, especially when your mind is still not fully developed. That way, like, you can really, I don't know, build those positive like thinking patterns and habits. Because once you form them in, it takes 21 days, and
To break it.
break it, start to build a new pattern. That's not long, but think
Feels
about
long.
like 10 years of doing something dumb. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's not easy breaking habits. Like, some people are different, but I feel like the majority of us is like when you do something for such a long time, you get accustomed to it. Oh man, it's tough.
yeah,
But last thing I'll say is that, like, speaking to like, also when we say youth too, like, we're not just talking about little kids. We're talking about like teenagers, people like my age in their early 20s. Like, you're young, all right. We're
yeah,
still.
him,
I'm an infant. No.
him,
So it's like,
me.
me saying these things isn't just like me talking down. This is me also talking to myself as well. Um, so now I speak towards the people who are like older, like the adults. I think it's, you may not want the responsibility of being a role model,
It's our responsibility.
but sometimes it's, yeah, exactly. It's not even really up to you. It's you. If someone looks up to you, right? Like a couple people look up to me, like my nephews and niece, and it's scary being a role model, because now I feel like whatever I do, if I make a mistake, I feel like they're gonna do the same thing, and I don't want to misguide them, but you know, that's just me overthinking. That's me not really being rational, because I know my intentions at the end of the day. I know what I want for them, and I want them to be, successful and happy in life. I'm not gonna force them down a career path or whatever they want, as long as they're happy, and that's all that matters. Um, but for me, it's like, I really wish that I had the role model that I like, somebody, not to be like, I wish I had me as a role model, um,
Be
but
the
like
role model that
that I
you,
needed.
yeah.
Um, but the closest thing to that was my older sisters. I learned a lot from all of them. I still learn. They're okay. I said that like they're not here, but I've learned a lot from them, and but it was tough because I couldn't fully relate to them at the end of the day, because some of my troubles they wouldn't understand, and vice versa. But now when I look back to like youth, like again my nephew and niece, or like some of the kids at the agency that we worked with, like you see yourself in them, and you're just like, like, damn, like no one was there to help me get through the situation. So I think it's my turn to pay it back. So I definitely would advise people to like really be that helping hand. Be that person that you needed or could have used. You never know whose lives you can change. And like we said in the other video, where like you don't even really like need to be so hands-on either. Like you can just kind of guide them from a distance. Remind them things, be like, hey, that's not, you shouldn't do that, and explain why. Don't. That's another thing too, is like, don't be like, oh, just don't do that, that's bad, because kids gonna be like, why can't I do that? And my mom used to always say, because I said so, and I was never satisfied with that answer, and I will always do it regardless.
Yeah.
But if you know why, explain and be like, hey, and only thing you can do honestly is just give advice and then hands off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't help you no more. I can give you advice, but it's up to you.
Yeah, that's true. When it's being forced down your throat, it's you're gonna try to reject it all the time, especially at a younger age. You're gonna be like, nope, I'm good on that. But if you're gentle with it and take your time, you could definitely make a difference. So don't lead each other to the slaughterhouse. Stop leading people astray and lead them in the right direction for the better of all of us. Not just for you, not just for them, all of us.
Oh, well, because at the end of the day, we're all living on the same planet, so we might as well take care of each other, you know?
Yes, sir.
But
That's the
that's it.
video.
All right, guys. Well, appreciate you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. And it's X signing out.
And I'm Felix.
Take care.